Tales from Fufu's Forest, The Healing Hand of God. You can start to learn Chinese in this book. You will encounter several Chinese words. I will pronounce them for you now. Yesu, Jesus. Shou, hand. Cha, tea. Pern yo, friend. Ooh. Shan sat straight up in bed. He shook the fog from his head and tried to place the sound. The whistle grew softer. Then he heard a blink on the counter. A cup? Someone was making tea? It was still black outside. Why would anyone be awake? Shan shuffled into the kitchen, and his mother looked up surprised. "Oh, Shan, dear, I didn't mean to wake you." She tried to smile. "Go back to bed." "But what are you doing?" "Just making a little tea for father." She quickly looked back towards the stove. "He's not feeling well." "Not feeling well?" Shan had never heard those words describe his father before. Every day, no matter what, he rose with the sun and headed out into the fields. Fully awake now, Shan stepped quickly towards his father's bed. Even in the darkness, Shan could see that his father's face was pale and glistering with small beads of sweat. Father grimaced, although he seems to be sleeping, and his breathing was wheezy and shallow. Throughout the night, Shan held his father's hand and refused to leave his side, even as mother tended to him. When the morning sun began to stream through the window, mother touched Shan's shoulder. "Shan, please, the doctor said to give it time. There's nothing we can do. Please go get some rest." I think I'll take a walk, if that's okay." Shan stood up, still watching his father's ragged breaths. Mother gave a weak smile and nodded. Shan grabbed his jacket and headed straight for the bamboo forest. When he reached the boy-sized opening in the bamboo, he bounded through and smacked straight into Old Red. "Well, hello, Master Shan." The red panda steadied himself with his walking stick. "To where are you going so quickly?" Shan caught his breath and looked around. "I really don't know." Tears began to well up in his eyes. Old Red placed both hands on the walking stick and looked directly at the boy. "Then, perhaps we shall go together, Penyo." "Cha? Cha?" A rodent panda called from his cave. "Time for tea." "As always, Fufu." Old Red bowed towards his friend. Inside the cave, the clink of teacups brought tears again for Shan. "My father is sick." The boy put his head in his hands. "And there's nothing I can do." "Oh, Master Shan." Old Red took a seat next to the boy. "There's always something we can do." Fufu smiled a knowing smile and settled in for a story. "Not long ago," Old Red began softly, "a poor man, Joshua, left his home in Henan province, the land of the Yellow River, to tell others about Yesu all over China. Of course, Joshua knew it was against the law to share about the love of Jesus. But for him, telling others about Jesus was more important than any laws of man. The police began to hear about what Joshua was doing, and soon, like Peter and Paul in the Bible, Joshua was arrested and thrown into prison. The police thought that would stop him from sharing about Jesus. But that would not be the case. Why not? Shan sniffed and looked up. Did they let him go? No. Old Red smiled at the boy. But Joshua realized that the people in prison needed to hear about Jesus too. Many of them were murderers and thieves, Old Red explained, and Joshua knew that Jesus could help even them. Joshua told his cellmate how all had sinned, prisoners or not. Joshua described the punishment for that sin, how it was much worse than any prison cell. However, Joshua also told them about Jesus, who had given his life as a sacrifice so that everyone who believes in him will have everlasting life. Shan's eyes grew wide. Then he saw Fufu's nod and smile. So he quickly did the same. But the truth was, Shan had never heard anyone talk about Jesus the way Old Red did. He had heard whispers at school, but his parents had never dared to mention the name. He knew that there were stories about Jesus in a book called the Bible, but he didn't know where to find one of those, even if he wanted to. Old Red and Fufu, on the other hand, seems to know all about Jesus, and Old Red certainly wasn't afraid to talk about him. Shan jotted back to attention. Old Red had stopped talking and was looking straight at him. The wise red panda took a long sip of tea, then continued. Joshua told the prisoners that even murderers, liars, and thieves could be forgiven and be with Jesus forever if they would believe. After a while, all the prisoners in the cell with Joshua came to believe in Jesus. However, when the warden of the prison found out about this, he was not happy. Oh no, he was not. The red panda shook his head. Sharing about Jesus was against the law, and the warden certainly was not going to let it happen right there in his prison. He demanded that Joshua stopped. As punishment, he ordered his guard to beat Joshua and move him to another cell, away from the new Christian friends. Old Red leaned in. But do you think that stopped Joshua? Shan and Fufu looked at each other and smiled. Old Red wheeled his walking stick as he spoke. Before long, everyone in Joshua's new cell had heard about the love of Jesus and had become a Christian. The warden was furious. He knew that he had to stop Joshua or everyone in the whole prison would become a Christian. So again, he told the guards to pull Joshua out of his cell and punish him once and for all. The guards obeyed. They beat Joshua until he didn't make a move, until he no longer made a sound. The guards then threw his limp body into the prison cell with the most well-known murderer in the prison. That's when something strange began to happen. Old Red leaned in. A ray of light streamed down from the ceiling and landed on Joshua. The prisoner noticed it right away. The light was powerful and bright, but there weren't any lights, windows, or even reflection from mirrors to explain where it was coming from. Those prisoners didn't need an explanation. Together, they gathered around this man who was known for sharing the love of Jesus, and they lifted his body onto the only bed in the prison cell. Then they waited. Oddly, the mysterious light followed Joshua's body from the floor to the bed and continued to shine on him until finally Joshua opened his eyes. His cellmates were still standing over him, now staring him in amazement. Joshua didn't know what had happened, and he tried to get up. As he did, one prisoner wasted no time saying what all the other cellmates were thinking. "Please tell us about your God." Of course, Joshua did. And those men all became Christians that day. Word spread throughout the prison about the miraculous healing bed. Prisoners said that if they were to lie in the same bed where the light has shined on Joshua, then you too will be healed. Many sick people came to lie in that bed, and many sick people were healed. Before long, even the warden came to believe in Jesus, the Yeshu whom Joshua had so boldly spoke about, the Jesus who had the power to heal all who believed. Orad sat back and closed his eyes for a moment. But wait, what happened to Joshua? Shan asked. He is a pastor. Orad spread his arms wide. Of one of the largest churches in China. Wow! Shan thought for a moment, then grinned. And the warden? Oh, ho, ho! Orad laughed a deep laugh. The warden is a member of Joshua's church. Shan smiled. Then it hit him. He knew what he had to do. Thanks for the story, Orad, he yelled on his way out and ran down the trail that led to home. Orad nodded. God be with you, Master Shan, he replied in almost a whisper. Shan tiptoed into his father's room, knelt beside his bed, and began to whisper to Jesus. Or was it God? He wasn't quite sure, but he knew that he was listening. After a few moments, Shan rose quickly and glanced towards his mother. Her brow was wrinkled, her mouth was open, but she didn't say a word. Shan smiled and kissed his mother on the cheek. When Shan got to the door, he turned back to look at his father. He lingered to see his father's chest rise and fall, steady and smooth. And just before Shan turned to go, though he couldn't be sure, he thought he saw a ray of light reaching towards his father's bed. It could be the moon, he thought. But in his heart, he knew it was the healing hand of God.